Hey guys, this is week 2 Project Life. It still seems very weird to be back at the start again saying 2. This week I am diving back into my stash again for the week, but this time I made things mildly easier on myself instead of going through the entirety of my Project Life cards. Last week I spent a bit of time creating a few little mini kits with my patrons, and I'm using one of those this week just because it makes things a whole lot easier. So I've got a few 4x6s and some 3x4s to work with, and I'm just sort of shuffling them around, seeing what's going to work with my photos this week. And you can see I started off with a really kind of cool toned look. I've got some silver foil in there, sort of some navy blue and some green, and I'm just not entirely happy with it. And I think the thing that was throwing me off maybe was the green for the title card. It was, I mean, you know, green's not really my favorite. I thought it would work because there are a couple of photos with green in there, but it just kind of threw me, and I really did love the cool tones in this kit, so I'm gonna swap that out and go with blue instead of the green. And then I wondered about adding a few more little pops of yellow in here because again there's a couple of photos with some yellow in it, but the yellow that I've picked in down the bottom, the 4x6 there, it feels really heavy, so I'm not sure that that's going to work, and I'm trying to add in, well, really as many cards as I can. So I didn't hesitate to layer this sort of acetate piece over another one, but I really did love the original card I had down there, so I decided to pull that back in and maybe use the yellow as part of my 3x4s instead. So I'm going to end up cutting this card down into a 3x4 for my middle section here, and I like it so much better. It gives me this real balance between warm and cool, and I do get those pops of yellow without it being too in your face, and really balance is what I'm going for here. So now that I've got all my cards and my photos laid out, I went and dug through my stash again and found a few embellishments that I could use. I've picked out a couple of alphas and then just gone through my embellishment bin. One of the things that I did pick out were these Chamel stickers. I was going to say it's a sticker book, but they're kind of sticker sheets. One of my lovely patrons sent these to me, and I've been hoarding them for a long time, and this is the year to stop doing that, so I'm going to use up some of those stickers today. I started by adding a Saving the World sticker to my coffee photo there. That was my first day back at work this year, and it definitely did not feel like saving the world, but the coffee definitely was. I used this tag. I really loved the sentiment on it, but didn't really want to use it as a tag, so I just stuck it onto my photo and then cut the top of the tag off, so it then becomes more like a sentiment sticker. And at this point I realized I hadn't stuck down my smaller photos, so I'm just going to glue them onto my 3x4 cards. Now I want to do, there's not a whole lot of journaling going to go on this week, but I did want to add just a little bit of a title more than journaling to this photo here, because otherwise it doesn't really make a great deal of sense. We had pretty horrendous storm come through, and it actually blew over one of our trees. So the puss was very unhappy about this. It's her favourite tree. She loves to go out and scratch her claws on it. So when we let her out the next day and it was on the ground, she was decidedly unhappy. So I had to take a little photo of her face. So I'm just going to add a couple of those. They're not washi tape. It's a really funny texture, kind of like printed tissue paper almost, definitely not as sturdy as washi. I just added a couple of strips to give me a little shelf to put the title on here. These pink stickers are gorgeous. They've got kind of like an iridescent foil over the top of them, so I love them. They're so pretty, and it's going to break up some of the sort of yellow, the heavy themed yellowness of this layout by adding as many different colors as I can, basically. Normally I would stick to a pretty strict color scheme if I can, but this week we're going for all of the colors. So again, I'm going to use one of these washi strips as a sort of shelf for the title on my title card. I love the pink, and it's going to echo the pink of those alphas that I put on that bottom card. I did have these stickers that I bought just recently, but they're kind of the wrong pink. They're a little bit cool toned for everything else, and I didn't want to make it too pink, so instead I'm going to go with these silver glitter stickers. I've had them forever. I hardly ever use them. That's why there's still plenty of ease left over, because they shed glitter like crazy. So I'm trying to be as careful as I can not to bend them, but they're like foam with glitter on them, so the glitter's not particularly attached. So I'm being super careful when I peel them off, and super careful not to get too much of the glitter on my hands, and then I'm just pushing them off to the side, and I'll deal with the glitter fallout later. I'm not gonna stick to any rules about adding labels or anything for date stamping this year, so I'm just gonna stamp this straight onto the card. I'm just using Memento Tuxedo black ink. This is just a mini one because I didn't have my full stamp pad out. Stamping that straight onto the card, and I am gonna not add my little pen like I normally would, the little pen heart in between the dates, but I have these tiny little enamel hearts from Doodlebug Designs, and I'm gonna add one of those instead. I didn't want to add any more pink, so I picked a red one, and I'll add a couple more pops of red if I can. If I can't, no problem, because I'm going with all the colours. Now those little Doodlebug enamel hearts were out on my desk along with this crepe paper sticker pack, because I had a bunch of Valentine stuff sitting out there, and I figured it would work just as well for this spread as it would for any sort of Valentine's themed thing. So that's what I'm doing. Again, I'm going to use another little piece of this washi sort of tape stuff, not necessarily to add any colour to this photo, but it's quite a busy photo, and adding this darker tape down the bottom just it just helps the sticker stand out a little bit more from the background. It gives it a little bit more of a solid to sit on. And that's what I wanted. So the colours aren't really there. It's sort of a navy blue washi, but it just helps that sticker stand out a little bit more. Now going back to my Chamel sticker sheets, just picking out any that might work. I am trialing some of them first, like this one. I wasn't sure which way round to put it. I'm just going to use it as a layering piece for some of these smaller sentiment stickers, again just to help them stand out, because it is that sort of crazy busy stripy card on the background. So having that base for those tiny red stickers just creates more of a cluster and helps them to stand out. I do spend a lot of time sort of deliberating over these stickers. Obviously they're for Valentine's Day, so they are really like heavily loved themed, but there's so much on this spread photo wise that I actually do really love, so it kind of worked for me. But I just didn't want to add like too many sort of lovey-dovey sentiments on there, so I skipped back and forward between that and the Chamel one, just trying to work out where things are going to go, what I could use instead. But I do come back to these loved ones just because they're really pretty, and they're just simple to add. Like, I'm just going to add this one under my ice cream photo, but I don't want the those two crepe paper stickers to sit right next to each other, so I did swap the two yellow cards just to spread things out a little bit. And one of the other embellishments that I had pulled out just in case were these silver sequins. I'd pulled them out in case I did use those silver alphas, just to give another pop of silver, give some context, I guess, to the silver alphas being the title card. And the other thing were some enamel dots, and again they were sitting on my desk sort of to go with my Valentine's themed stuff. So the red and the teal don't particularly go with the rest of the spread, but again, like I said, I wanted to add just some very small touches of red if I could in there, and the teal again helps to just break up some of those colours. Now since we're going with the theme of diving into stashes here, I want to use up some of these sequins, so I had added a couple on the rest of the spread, and then I figured why not go kind of the whole hog with these. One of the issues that I have is that they are so old that the kind of adhesive on the back of them sometimes just pops off them. It's sort of lost its stick onto the sequins. It still sticks onto paper, but it's not as sticky on the sequin. So I mean, again, it's just one of those things, when you hoard stuff they get old and deteriorate, so you might as well use it while you can, right? I won't make you watch me faff about with these sequins too much longer. I just want to put a whole row underneath the photo, and it does take me a little while to get those all evened out. I'm just going to add one more of those silver sequins to my top photo. It gives me a visual triangle, gives me 3 points with those sequins. I just feel happier, and add a little bit more color to the top there as well. Plus it's been annoying me that the sticker wasn't centered on the card, which became glaringly obvious once I added those sequins in. So I'm going to faff about, try and stick that towards more of the center. And then I've got one more photo that needs to be done, or not done, it just needs something added to it. It's got kind of a white space in the middle, which I would be fine with leaving as it was, except that every other card and photo on this page has had some sort of embellishment done to it, and it kind of feels weird leaving one empty. So I am going to do my best to fill up this little space. Again, I'm back with these loved theme stickers. I mean, I love crafting, love creating, so that's what I've gone with. So I'm going to add a couple more of the sort of other stickers from that Chamel pack, just to kind of tie everything together, I guess. I've used a couple of those and a couple of the crepe paper ones, and by adding them all together it does tie the whole lot together, so I end up with 3 of those crepe paper stickers and a whole bunch of the other ones, and I just think it adds a little bit more colour, and then I can call the whole page done, despite me wondering whether I can squeeze in a few more enamel dots. I just am so loving these stash pages, and I really can't wait to do a few more. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye guys.